Welcome to another Photoshop party. It's beautiful October 11th, I think. I don't know, somewhere around there.
Yeah.
It's been a long day. I can't tell you what day it is. Today we're going to talk about the radial filter, and I'm also going to show a couple of really neat tricks to help you hopefully do things a little bit quicker. First things first, let's go ahead and get into, there we go. Everybody can see my screen right now.
Yes.
You see the West Coast School screen. And just to let you know, West Coast School is coming up. It's going to be the June 4th through the 9th, 2023, which is not that far away. Instructors include Sandra Pierce, a GIA Award, Shannon Squires, a GIA Award, Tim Meyer, Joe Glida, Woody Walters and Chris Woolley, Doug and Laura Bennett. Doug got a GIA.
And Doug is a GIA. Doug has a GIA as well this year.
And Mike Collins, who did not get a GIA, and Tony Corbell. So if you want to do payments, so you don't have to do it all at once, you can do payments. Just give Mel a call at 1-800-439-5839, extension 3 or extension 1, and probably extension 2 as well. And work out the payment plan, $100 a month or $150 a month, whatever it takes to get you paid off. Anyway, West Coast School, you want to be there. Summer camp for photographers. While I got this open, let's go to preferences, and it is under, I believe, file handling. Under file handling, you have what's called enable legacy save as. I know with the new version of Photoshop 2022, they decided when you do a save as, you can't do a JPEG. You have to do copies, etc. Well, here you go. You click on enable legacy save as, click on that, and you can now do a JPEG save. So that's one of the things they changed, and there's a workaround to save you with that. So hopefully that was your problem. And we'll
Not sure.
fixed.
Say it again, please.
Okay, go to
file handling.
Go to preferences, file handling, enable legacy save as. And just click that, and you should be able to save from now on.
Got it.
So there you go.
Thank you.
That's what we're here for. And we'll close that out. Go to bridge. And I'm not going to open up in a raw file. I'm just going to open up the JPEG. And what I want to do is I kind of want to make this bottle float a little bit. And I want to put some really cool designs behind it. So first things first, I am going to go to some of my selection tools. So I will start with the object selection tool. Click on object selection tool, and I have it set to lasso, or I can go to select subject at the top. And I think it was last week we talked about select subject. You can do it on the device or you can do it on the cloud. Well, right now my preferences are set to device, but I noticed that the cloud gives a whole lot better result when you do that. So I'm going to go to preferences, and I got to remember where it's at. I don't know where it is. I have to find, there is a preference in there for setting that from your computer to the cloud, and I don't know where it is. I'll have to look for it and get it to you later. I should, oh, there it is. Under image processing, device, I'm going to put the cloud, which takes a little bit longer than the device, but it gives you a much better accurate reading. So I'll just go to select subject, and we now have a selection done. And I'll go to select and mask really quick just to show you how good of a quality it took. If I can get my zoom tools out of the way. And we'll go to on black and set it to about 80%. And you can see the results we got are just like wicked cool, easy. Output 2, new layer with layer mask, click OK. And now I have it on its own layer. So that is like super simple, easy. I'm going to take my background and add a layer above it. And I'm going to hit my default colors by hitting the letter D. So I have black and white. And what I want to do is I want to work on a black layer. So I'll fill it with black. The fastest way to do it is Option Delete. If you wanted white, Command or Control Delete, Alt Delete, or Option Delete will get you the black. Once I have it up there, I can move this guy around by hitting the Move tool, B for move, and just move him. Right about there ought to do it. What I want to do is I want to select colors off of this. So I'm going to zoom in just a little bit. And I'm going to select my colors off of here so they kind of match. So I'll go to the brush tool, B for brush, and then I'll hold the Option key, and you see down where Angry Orchard is, when I hit the Option or Alt key, it changes it to the eyedropper tool. I don't have to go over to the eyedropper tool to do my selections. I just do that. So I'm going to select this green right there. I'm going to take my brush and I'm just going to do something funky with it. I'm going to take this dark green up on the top up here on the top of the barrel. Click on that, get a darker green. And you notice I'm painting on the layer below it. So even though you're not seeing it getting painted behind the bottle, it is. Let's get, say, the green off of the apple on the Angry Orchard. And hide the bottle for just a second and just kind of ziggy. And let's add some browns in there from the tree. It's nice that the person who designed this bottle did this all for us.
Mike, you wouldn't create a mask for that?
I've already created a mask for the bottle, but for what I'm doing, you'll see what I'm doing shortly and understand why I'm doing what I'm doing. In fact, let's do this light green one more time. Just kind of zig it over. And what I have now below is just a weird design. So we're going to go into the radial filter. So we'll go to Filter, Blur, Radial Blur. And I'm going to bring this back up to default, which is in the middle. I'm going to use the zoom blur method. I'm going to use good. And I'm going to start at, say, 60, we'll say 60%, 61, 60, 61, whatever it takes. And then I'll click OK. And it didn't do a whole heck of a lot, so we'll do it again. Filter, blur, radial blur, and let's go up to 80%. There we go. And again, in good and zoom. And it's going to take a few tries to get this to actually do what I want. So I can go up to top up here to filter, and you can see if I hit Command or Control F, it'll redo the radial blur filter again, or I can click on that, let it do it again. Command F again. This time I'm going to change it one time just for fun. Go to blur, radial blur. Whoops, wrong one. Filter, blur, radial blur. Let's go to best, which takes a lot longer to do. When it brings up that tool in front of you, you know it's going to take a while. And it shouldn't take that long. But when we're working on Zoom, you see what happens. It slows everything down.
Hey, Mike, would it be better just to do it at 100% from the beginning?
Well, let's try that. Why not? Never know. Oops. No. Filter, blur, radial blur, 100%, good quality. There we go. And it doesn't make that much of a difference.
Doesn't make a difference, yeah.
So we'll do it a couple more times. Command F or Control F. Again. And it's just, there we go. That's not too bad. We'll do one more just for fun to play with it. Go to blur, radial blur. This time I'm going to move the center of the blur up, which will give me a whole bunch of bizarre look, I hope. That went a little bit too far. So we'll Command Z, filter, radial blur, take it down to about 65% with it up that high. There we go. That's more gooder. And then if I wanted to,
So you
what I
really
could-
just need to move the center point, and that kind of gives you a lot more.
that
of
gave
an
me a,
effect.
yeah. And you can play around with this and figure out how you want to do it. I mean, it's just, and if you want to add a little bit of saturation, we're going to right click, make this a smart object. We're going to go to filter, to camera raw filter. And I'm going to bump the saturation and the vibrance up. And you can also change the color with the temperature, which brings it up a little bit more. Click OK. And that looks a little bit too much. So we'll go to edit and it won't allow me to fade. That's okay. Let's go to opacity, drag it down a little bit. And I'm going to have to add a black background underneath it. So I'll just add a black background, fill it. There we go. So you can adjust any way you like as you're playing with it. And then you can add your Angry Orchard type at the top in the blue from the label. And you got, or the green from the blue, hello. The green from the label, and you got it made. So that's quick and easy, dirty trick to doing that. Any questions on that? You can see sometimes adjusting, playing with it makes a difference. When somebody suggested 100%, we tried that. We moved the center line on it. We tried that, and just play with it. Any questions? Okay, then we'll close this. And I'm going to go to bridge, and you can see my bridge right now. Okay. One of the other questions that came up in the beginning, let's do all of these, select them all, was changing everything to JPEG or to whatever. So I've selected all the images in the folder from last week, and I'm in bridge. I'm going to go to tools, down to Photoshop, down to image processor. So we'll go tools, Photoshop, image processor, click OK. And now what I can do is I'm going to save them as JPEGs in the same location. It's going to create its own folder saying JPEG. And I want to resize so they're all the same size. I'm going to change them to 4,000 pixels wide, 4,000 pixels tall. And that's not going to make a square image. What it's going to do, it's going to say, okay, if it's a vertical, it's going to be 4,000 pixels tall. If it's a horizontal, it's going to be 4,000 pixels wide. And you could change it any way you want. You can save it as a PSD. I have right now saved as a JPEG, or you can save it as a TIFF. Either one, no big deal. Click on run. And what it'll do, open them, then close them really fast. I said close them really fast. Wow. We'll go back to Bridge, and you can see I have a folder down at the bottom now called JPEG. Click on JPEG. They're all the same size. They're all at 4,000 pixels. So if I open up this one and this one, oops. There we go, just those two. Click on open. And you'll see this guy is image size. I'll change this from inches to pixels. He's 4,000 pixels tall. This one should be image size, 4,000 pixels wide. So if you want to change everything in one folder to a JPEG or a PSD file or a TIFF, you can do it using Bridge and doing it that way.
Let me ask a question,
No,
if I may. What I found on the newest Photoshop is when I click on an image in
Uh-huh.
Bridge, it comes up in Camera Raw, even though it's a JPEG. Is there another preference I can change so it doesn't do that unless I want it to?
if you previously opened, let's say, we'll go to this guy here.
Right,
If I do a Command or Control R,
yeah.
it will open it in RAW. And then I click on,
I'm
click
not
on-
doing that.
right. But when I click on done, if I do it again, double click on it.
Oh,
Oh, it didn't do it. Oh, it's already open. Okay, let's close him, double click. Huh. I need to find the preference to tell you how to fix that.
okay,
Because
thank
it
you.
used to be, once you
Yeah.
opened it in RAW, it would automatically open in RAW from now on,
Yeah.
but
yeah,
it didn't do it this time.
okay.
Let me try that one more time. Open up in RAW, click open. Maybe that's why I didn't open it. So don't save. Back to Bridge, double click on it. Nope. Apparently somewhere in my preferences, I've fixed that and I don't know where. I just don't know where, but I'll find it. Any other questions? No questions? Okay, let me turn off the recording so you can ask your questions again.